Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. So today's video is all about how to avoid student loan application rejection. Basically, how can you avoid being rejected once you apply for student loans, and also if you've been rejected already, what are some things you can do to ensure the next time you apply you don't get rejected. So let's just get started with today's video. So one big reason why your student loan application could have been rejected or could be rejected is that you have some really bad credit history or credit score, credit report. So for many of these loan options, and a lot of them I've mentioned on this channel already, as part of the application process, they want you to send some sort of credit report. And if your report shows like some really bad financial behaviors or credit behaviors, or a low credit score, depending on what country you're applying for and the credit scoring system, that is usually a red flag and one big reason why your student loan application could be rejected. So if you're still in this loan application process, you want to make sure that part of your application is sorted out. You're not, if there are things you can correct in terms of like your credit and all of that, make sure you correct them and make sure they reflect on your credit report before you submit your credit report as part of that application process. Also, if you've never taken a loan, there are some people from different countries that just don't like take loans. If you've never taken a loan, you still need a credit report, and you want to make sure you understand what is written or what is reported on that credit report. So that is one big reason why your student loan could be rejected. And if you are reapplying for that student loan, make sure you kind of like sort out any issues you have on your credit report, if you need to pay back some bills, and make sure they reflect before you apply again. So let's move on to the next thing. So another major reason why your student loan application could be rejected is the amount you're asking for. So of course, think about it. If someone is asking for a $200,000 loan versus say $40,000 loan, if you're asking for big amounts, they want to pay more attention to you, your profile, your risk profile as well, like how much risk they will be taking by providing you such loans. So as much as possible, try to make sure whatever you're borrowing or whatever you're putting in your application as the loan amount is something that is as low as possible. Basically, if there are other means for you if there are other options for you in terms of like getting funding for your school, whether that's undergrad or grad school, try to make sure you explore all those options before you move on to like loans, because the bigger the amount you ask for, the more risky it is, if I can say that, for the company, so for the loan provider. So you want to make sure you ask for like small loans as much as possible. Of course, some of us don't have that luxury and we apply for like hundreds of thousands of dollars of loans. That is also fine, but if you can, make sure you apply for a lesser amount. And if you are reapplying for to that student loan provider, make sure you kind of this time try to request for something lower. Of course, you should still be able to meet up with like the total sum you need to attend that program, but as much as possible, try to explore other options and make sure your loan amount, the amount you're requesting for, is small or smaller than you requested before. So that's one other reason why your student loan application could be rejected, is you are asking for big amounts. So if the cost of attendance is say $100,000, you are asking for $90,000, and that could be a lot depending on the loan provider. So that's one other reason. So if you're still in the loan application process and you're exploring different loan options, don't forget that I have a link in my description box where you can go straight to Prodigy Finance's website and apply for a loan. They sponsor international students. They are the biggest in terms of like international student loans. So make sure you explore Prodigy Finance, and if you haven't created an account or started an application, just go to the description box. I have a link for you there that takes you straight to the application portal and you can get things started. I also have a video where I walk you through how to apply and everything. Make sure you check out that video. I'll also drop it in the description box. Okay, So that said, let's move on to number 3 reason why your loan application could be rejected. And that is you have a history of pretty low earnings. See, whether we like it or not, and of course, I don't like it, I don't agree with this, but the truth is they consider your historical earnings in determining how much really if they should basically approve your loans. So if you've always worked in industries where you earn really low, or you work in a high paying industry but you just earn pretty low income, that is one other reason. You guys, you know that when you're filling the loan application, there's a part where they say like, what have you earned in the last 5 years or in the last 3 years? I don't remember the actual number of years, but if you've gone through the process recently, drop a comment. So there's a part of that application where they're asking you for like what you've earned previously, and this is one reason why your loan application could be rejected, because if they've seen that people in this industry typically earn pretty high, but maybe because of where you worked or whatever reasons you didn't earn a whole lot, that is one other reason why your student loan could be rejected, because they are using your past earnings to predict your future earnings. So, and you know, this really matters to them. Like, if they're trying to see or estimate or they're trying to figure out the possibility or your potential to pay back. Really, that's all they're doing. And if you're showing numbers that kind of tells them that you've not been earning very well previously, that's also a red flag. That's a reason why they could reject your loan. For this one, I don't know what you can do. If you're reapplying, depending on the time frame, you may not have the chance to kind of like get your earnings up, like get another job, work in another industry, stuff like that. I feel like that's a bit unrealistic depending on how much time you have. But if you're thinking of applying like a year from now, definitely do everything you can to make sure you bring your earnings up. But sometimes that one is outside of our control. But really, guys, that is one other reason why your student loan application could be rejected. One other, I don't know if this is true, but this is just a theory that I have about this whole earnings thing. I do feel like people from countries where people earn pretty low, by the time their income is converted to dollars, it becomes like a really small amount. And if you're applying to loans or applying for loans in dollars, and at the end of the day, when they calculate everything you earn, it's like $10,000 a year. I do feel like that counts against some of us that are from countries where our exchange rates aren't just favorable. That's my thesis. That's my own hypothesis. I might be wrong, but if you agree, just let me know. But that's one other thing I do feel like may play a role here. But don't quote me. This is just what I think. Let's move on to the next thing. So another reason why your student loan application could be rejected is you have not shown any evidence of how you pay the balance. Basically, you don't have real good savings. So let's think about this for a second. You need $100,000 to maybe go to this program. Like, that's the cost of attendance. That's tuition plus living expenses and other fees, right? Let's say it's $100,000. And you are asking for a loan of $50,000, you need to show them some evidence of how you will pay the balance $50,000. If the bank statements or whatever savings numbers you've put in the application shows you have just $10,000, that is kind of a problem, because you may have written that, oh, you fund with $10,000 and then a family member will fund for the balance $40,000, right? That I feel like is another red flag. Like, this person doesn't have any savings or proof of savings, right? But one thing you can do for this one is to actually make sure you write that a family member or a friend will sponsor the remaining $40,000. Depending on where you're applying, they might ask for some evidence, but some at the beginning may not ask for evidence that you actually have that family member. But as much as possible, try to show savings, either that's for you or from your own account, or from a family member or some other sponsor. You can cover the balance. So pay attention to the balance of the cost of attendance and the loan amount you're asking for. Basically, maybe your tuition minus the loan that balance, you need to account for it, and that's something you should pay attention to and make sure your numbers are adding up. Basically, make sure you're showing how you will pay back, or how you will account for the balance of the tuition and loan amount. So that's one other reason, that's one more thing for you to kind of pay attention to. So one more reason why your student loan application could be rejected is your field of study. Guys, I hate this one so much, but see, it is reality. Like, your field of study is so important to these companies, right? So let's say they have, at the end of the day, they are trying to see what is the potential that this person, what is this person's how do we measure this person's ability to pay back? So what is the potential that you would be able to pay back, or probability, probability that you'll be able to pay back? At the end of the day, that's what matters to these loan companies. So one of the reasons why your student loan application could be rejected is your field. If you guys haven't noticed, when you go to all these loan options that I mentioned, these options work with certain schools and certain programs. So let's say they work with Stanford University. They don't sponsor all the programs at Stanford. They sponsor specific programs. And here is why. Some programs or some fields over the years, maybe that's 5 years or 10 years, depending on the metrics they're using or the kind of data they're using, they have seen that people that graduate from these specific programs typically get jobs maybe within 90 days, or typically get job maybe within 4 months of graduation. That is the key metric that is important to them. And if those fields, usually they are high paying fields, computer science, medicine, things like that, if you are not applying to those programs that they believe are fields that are very lucrative, there's a problem. There's a bit of a problem. So if you're applying to programs or you're applying to fields that over the years they have seen hasn't been very lucrative, that is one other reason for them to sort of like reject your loans. For this one, what can you do if you're reapplying? I don't know. I cannot tell you to change your field, but there's a way you can apply to other programs that are a combination of your field of interest and another field. So an example would be an MBA with data analytics concentration, something like that, right? So you can look for those programs and see if that helps you or that increases your chances of getting the loan. But basically, the truth is, more lucrative programs or more lucrative fields have a lot more loan options than the less lucrative ones. It's just like many people are willing to give student loans to people going into the medical field than people going into, other fields, because like it's just lucrative after they graduate, right? So you want to make sure you're paying attention to that and you sort of like try to rectify that if you are reapplying. So guys, that is one other reason why your student loan application could be rejected. So guys, throughout this video, I've talked about like things you can do to sort of like rectify the situation if you are reapplying or if your student loan application has already been rejected. Another thing you can do is to ask your school for more cash. So basically, I assume you've gotten some scholarship from your school, or maybe you've gotten zero, right? You can now write to your school with your loan rejection letter and say, hey guys, I have tried everything possible. This is my dream school, but I've tried everything possible since I got the admission to raise the funds that I need to make this happen, to join the class in September, depending on where you're going. But I have been unable to get the cash that I need. I have also gone ahead to apply for this loan and this loan, which are really the two options I have, and I have been rejected. Please find attached to the rejection letter, blah, blah, blah. Is there something else you can do? Is there some other funding opportunity that students that typically come into this program explore? Just write an email like that so the school sees that you are really trying your best to join the program, but things aren't working out, and usually they will suggest other options that other students have explored, whether that's like graduate assistantships and all of that. So this is one more opportunity. If your loan has been rejected, I hope your loan, your loan application doesn't get rejected, but if that has happened, it's one more opportunity, one last opportunity for you to ask your school for more funding. And yes, you can ask for more funding. I feel like I should say that more often, because a lot of people don't ask the schools. They're like, but they've provided me this. Won't they think I'm asking for too much? Yo, ask. Ask all the time until you get what you want. So this is one more opportunity for you to ask your school for more funding. And of course, do the other things that I've recommended throughout the video. Make sure you get a sponsorship letter. I talked about that earlier. So basically, if you're applying for a loan of $50,000, but your cost of attendance is $100,000, and you only have $10,000 in savings, you can get a sponsorship letter from a sponsor, from a family member or a friend, basically saying they will sponsor the balance $40,000. Of course, the person needs to have that $40,000 in some account, but that's the letter that you need to make sure you submit your loan application, and it will be approved likely. So yeah, guys, that's it. If you have any questions about student loans, rejection, if you're experiencing difficulty getting student loans, make sure you put a comment in the comment section. Ask me questions, let me answer those questions, because hey, I've gone through this process too, you guys know. So let me answer those questions in the comment section. And if you want me to do more videos like these, loans, things you can do, how you can write sponsorship letters, all of that, make sure you like today's video and comment what you would like to learn in the comment section, so I can do a video like that the next time. All right, guys, if you've liked this video and the other videos you've watched and the other videos you will watch, make sure you subscribe. So please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Join the family so you know when I post, and so you don't miss important information. So guys, that's it for today's video. I'll see you in my next video.